Taurus teaches us to root, to build, to find safety in what we can touch and trust. But today, Uranus enters that space, bringing change, insight, and sometimes a necessary shakeup. This is where comfort meets awakening and where your next level begins. Welcome to Star Zenith 33, Laura Francesca here in the Astro Weather, where I'm going to be talking about the Taurus Moon as it comes together with Uranus and it makes a trine with the South Node in Virgo. Okay, so not only the South Node in Virgo, but let me just double check that if it's still there. Yes, it's still there. The part of fortune is in Virgo in the South Node. So join me there as I talk a little bit more on the astro weather. Okay, so here where we're going to be talking about is the moon in Taurus. Okay, it's actually wrapping up. Okay, it's at 23 degrees of innovation, of technology, of change, of disruption. Okay, it's a frequency of change that doesn't ask for permission. Okay, it just simply arrives. And as it comes together with Uranus, okay, there's this signature, this refined disruption. Okay, and so, what happens is that anything can happen. Uranus rules earthquakes, it rules the unexpected, it rules lottery wins, it rules all of that. Okay, and it also rules chaos, okay, and revolution. And so that is what happens when we see this planet of Uranus, which is a business planet. Okay, it is a business planet. It is higher octave than Mercury. So we got Mercury, which rules business, but then we got Uranus. Uranus is much more higher when it comes to business. And when you are running a business, when it comes to marketing, you should be using Uranus. You can use Mercury as well, but like I said, Uranus is much more higher, the frequency. So you can have a better result with Uranus. And so, for example, for me, my Mercury is in Pisces and it's not the best place there. Okay. And because, Mercury is about communication, Mercury is about analytics and strategy and so forth. And when it's in the spiritual sign of Pisces, that has to do more with intuition, with psychicness, dreams, it's not the best there. And it does rule the 12th house, so it can pretty much dream a lot. Okay, but it's really great for manifestation. These are great manifestors, those that have Mercury in Pisces, and they feel things, and I feel things, and I'm talking for other people that also have Mercury in Pisces, and so we tend to have a lot of dreams. We tend to be real psychic, get downloads. I love getting downloads. That's why when I do the podcast, I get downloads, and if I feel necessary to talk about it, then I will mention it in the podcast. If not, then I just won't. We're just very intuitively, we know what to share, what not to share. And so it's more about gatekeeping, certain things, and only because it's best to do that. Another thing too is, Mercury in Pisces. Well, for me personally, the degrees matter a lot. So I have it at the 17th degree of Leo. So this has more to do with royals and celebrities and people that have passed on because it is in retrograde. This has to do with my past and going back to maybe Renaissance and royals and celebrities and famous people. Anything with Leo, Leos are leaders as well, and it also rules military. Okay. So because I do have Mercury in Pisces, but then when you go to my Uranus is a whole different story. In Uranus, I have Libra, and other people will have the same sign, but since it's very Hollywood, my Mercury, very royal, I tend to go to Uranus where that's where Libra is, and that's where my sixth house is of work, right? Of environment, of my health. It is very, very important in my Uranus, especially because it's at 21 degrees of world economy. So this has nothing to, it has everything to do with me, but it has uh, more to do with influence around the world when it comes to health, when it comes to beauty, uh, feminine, and all of that. And so, marketing and branding and all that astrology and everything that I do with it. Um, and so, for me, it's best to market more on the Uranus side, because it's more aligned with my chart, because it's air, which is Libra, right? And I have a bunch of air. So they're all either making trines, or conjunctions. And so that's really, really great to have. And in Pisces, it's good there, but I feel with Mercury in Pisces, I have a stellium in Pisces, by the way. But I feel it's more, with the Pisces, there's a lot more drama. Okay. There's a whole lot more drama because of the 11th house and circles and stuff like that. So I'd rather just not deal with that. And I'm like, I'm just going to go over to Uranus and just, go over there and work over there. Plus, it's higher. So, and it's not that Mercury doesn't matter. Mercury really, really matters. Okay. It does a lot. Um, but what I've noticed is it's just been very dramatic. Okay. Very, very dramatic because it involves Pluto as well. And just obsessions from other people. And just, it's been ridiculous. So, just want to share a little bit on that, right? So right now, when the moon and Uranus are coming together, there is this unexpected disruption that is happening. Okay, when it comes to either real estate, restaurants, um, let me see here. Just anything unexpected that can pop up. I do gotta say, the star here, Algol, is sandwiched right between the moon and Uranus. Okay, and it's at 26 degrees of wealth, of money, of banks, of your financial assets. Okay, of real estate, all of that. Okay, and the moon coming together with Algo. Right now, we have to watch our neck. Okay, we have to watch our head. And I hadn't mentioned this. I mentioned it in the Spanish podcast, but I twisted my neck somehow. I think I didn't sleep right. It's either that, or because I recently had a fall. I was mopping in my front door, and I was wearing these brand new shoes, and I didn't know the rubber like underneath the shoe. I don't know what happened. I think I slipped and I just fell. And luckily I have a guard around my balcony and so forth. If not, I probably would have fell. And I just, thank the Lord that I was protected and so forth. It was a fall that just kind of fell, but I'm a very strong person. So I got up right away and, just try to pretend like I got it. I'm under control, like, but it did hurt. The fall did hurt a little bit. And so I think what happens with these type of falls, and thank God that, I didn't get hurt like a twisted ankle, leg or something. I was able to, catch myself, but I did fall to the ground and then I just got back up. I felt like Rocky, getting back up. And so I'm somebody that gets back up right away though. I know that because I used to take kickboxing, and I was told too that, usually when you get hit by the punching bag and you fall to the ground, there are some girls that have remained in the ground that they would take them like an hour or something just to get back up. And that I got back up like right away, not automatically right away, but much more faster than other girls that have fell to the ground. And I was like, really? I'm like, I didn't know that. And and so that's a good thing, right? And I do believe that to be true because, I fell and I got back up. And so, but I knew it had to do, it was just, I just never fell. This was the first time. It was just really, I guess it was really wet in the front. And the brand new shoes that I was wearing is very rubbery in the bottom, so I didn't test my shoes out yet. And for some reason I fell, and I was just like, I couldn't believe what happened, But nothing happened, thank God. It was not something that I got hurt or nothing. But I think what happens in those falls is within the next following days, then you start hurting, then something hurts here, something hurts there. It's either that or I just slept wrong, And so I don't know, or anything else could happen. I don't know, but um, I twisted my neck, and I also know that it can be this algal star. Okay, so this algal star in the sign of Taurus at 26 degrees of wealth. It could be this that when we read these charts and we just whether we tweet or whether we type or whether we speak or do a video or anything like that, it's important that people listen when we say, algo is conjuncting the moon, take care of the neck and so forth, because at least that could bring some awareness in having to be a little bit more careful about your neck or having to sleep good and everything. And so we have to watch out for this because this is what's happening. This is the frequency of algo, okay, with the moon. Okay, so the moon is our emotions of how we feel, and since it's at 23 degrees right now of rebellion, of innovation, like you want to innovate, you want to do things different, and you know, it comes together with algo, something to do with the neck. Like if you're not careful, then you could twist your neck or something like that. You know what I mean? And so, and then Uranus on top of that as well. That's the unexpected, a shock. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And so that there's something going to that towards the neck area, and just be careful of it. Just have awareness that you could twist your neck right now. And luckily I've been putting like icy hot and just kind of like moving my neck. I also have this thing called the cloud. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's a cloud and you could buy it on Amazon, and you place your head on there, and I gotta say it works because I've been using it. And then when I get off the cloud, my neck feels not as stiff, but it feels more loose. And I could move the head from side to side. And it does help, I do have to say. The pain's already going away, but it was like, I think the past 2 days was really bad. And it seemed like I had a whiplash or something. And I don't know. Like I said, I probably just slept wrong, or it could have been that fall or something. But anyway, I've been massaging my back of my neck, but I also know it has to do with the star here. Okay, these stars have a lot of influence. Speaking of stars, if you notice, we were on the new moon that just happened. We're still under the portal, and have you noticed that a whole lot more like older, kind of famous like men have been passing away? And it's so interesting because, with the new moon in Pisces, it was conjuncting this danger star called Sheet. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this dangerous star is in the sign of Pisces, okay, at the very last degree of 29 degrees of Leo. So that has to do with celebrities or semi-celebrity or anything like that. And so there's this testing period. Also, Leo has to do with leaders. It has to do with men. So if you will be noticing, who died? Chuck Norris just died. He was a celebrity, right? He just died, And then this other man from the Grand Prix, he managed the Grand Prix, the Long Beach Grand Prix, and I think he was like 83 to 83. And he passed away as well. And he obviously was in front of like the famous people, like the famous NASCAR racers, and I'm sure he had a lot of connections. So he was pretty semi-popular, semi-famous, for managing the Grand Prix for many years. And so he passed away. And then there's this other man here in our town in San Pedro, California, the port of Los Angeles. He was the owner of the fish market, and he was an Italian man. I think he was in his 80s as well. And he passed away as well. And I was like, wow, he was like a legend, here in San Pedro, because he's the one that started the restaurant, the San Pedro Fish Restaurant, and then it became a family restaurant. And his sons, they own it now, they run it, but he was the one that started the restaurant, and it's a big deal here in our town because he passed away, and he was Italian, and the whole Italian family and so forth. And so he passed away also, I think the day after the new moon. So the new moon has really been with this asteroid. I mean, with this star, because I'm always talking about asteroids. I hardly talk about stars, but there's ones I do talk about sometimes in some stars, but I have a whole lot more asteroids than stars. And so, you know, at the final degree, the testing degree, right, of 29, that has to do with fame. It could be you completed the cycle of fame. Like you got known for something. You were probably older, more mature, and you were known for something. You left a legacy behind, right? That's what the man here in San Pedro with his restaurant, the fish market, he left it to his sons. Now they're running it, right? And so it's a legacy that he's leaving behind. So that's the 29 degree in Leo. You did everything you could to become a celebrity, and your family is going to be taken care of, and you're leaving a legacy. And so that is somebody famous, and it's in the sign of Pisces. So it has to do with anything to do with like Hollywood, you know. Also spiritual, like you're a spiritual guru, that's older and so forth, that's another thing too. And so that's what's happening. That's what's happening right now with the moon and Uranus and the star here. But what I was talking about was more on the new moon in Pisces. That this is why they are passing away. And but right now for us, we gotta take care of the head right now, and this is why I was gonna jump on the podcast previously, like yesterday, and but I've been taking rests because I've been resting the neck. Just sometimes I've been taking even Advil because if it gets too painful, I don't think nothing's wrong with it. I think I just got when it gets numb, when it gets like in a ball, kind of like when it gets in a ball. My mom was telling me you should go get it massaged, because especially for us Hispanics, we go to these massagers, these ladies, and they massage when it's like it's not so bad though. It's already going away. So, I think if it was really painful, I probably might do that, but I'm good. I'm good. I think I just twisted it a little bit, but I keep messing with it. I keep messing with it to see if it cracks, and I try to do like the cat pose as well, stretching like the whole body and then lifting the head up and then kind of twisting it down, and it hurts a little bit, but it's going away. It's going away. So anyway, so the moon here, this is why I have not been talking as much as well, because I'm trying to heal that on the neck, because I'm sitting down, but I can't be like talking too much because I want to rest, the neck, So what's happening is that it is making a trine here with Juno and Capricorn. Juno and Capricorn has to do with marriages, and it's getting along very well right now. It's getting along with Earth. They all get along: Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. And so it's getting along well with marriages in Capricorn. Um, and I believe it's in, let me check here. It is in the sixth house of service. Okay. So these would be Capricorn that are in marriages that work together, that they're in service. Okay. And also, it has to do with health and habits and employment and also food, like the interest that we take into food and what we eat. It's so interesting. I put a cover here of tacos, right? Because that's the first thing that pops into my head when I think Taurus, especially at 23 of innovation, having to innovate the tacos, right? And some people might be health nuts and they're not into food, and they're vegetarians, and that's fine, right? This is only for those that, once in a while you want to enjoy a taco, right? And so I don't eat tacos every day, yeah, but I do enjoy a good taco or two, and with some lemon and chili and sauce and all that. I am Mexican. um, but I just love tacos. I love seafood tacos, like fish tacos. Oh my gosh. Fish tacos at Sharky's. Oh my gosh. They're so good. They're like, I think they're the best tacos, the ones I've tasted at Sharky. There's this restaurant called Sharky's for those that are listening to me around the world. There's these fish tacos at this seafood restaurant, and they're, I believe it's a franchise. And they have different locations in Southern California. And it's called Sharky's, like a shark. And they make some of the best fish tacos. Oh my gosh. They're like battered fish on there with the coleslaw and all of that. And they're big tacos. So all you need is just two tacos. That's it. I remember I went, I think it was like 2 years ago that I went. I used to go there a long time ago, but I was craving some tacos from there like 2 years ago. And I went and I forgot how big they were. And I think I ordered four tacos. And when I got them, I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't finish them. So I took the rest home and I only ate two tacos. I was like, I can't, it's been so long. Like they're so big, but they're so good. And so anyway, so I love tacos and stuff like that. And so when I think of Taurus with innovating, right? I think tacos. I think Mexican food. I think restaurants. And as far as the tacos, it doesn't have to be unhealthy. You know what I mean? They're starting to innovate the taco where they're using organic tortillas, and they use good ingredients, fresh ingredients, and so forth. And, innovating the taco, could be just, eating an organic tortilla and just adding some avocado on there, some salsa. And especially if they're fish tacos, they're healthy. Fish is healthy. But if you're into meat, you could eat some meat too. So and that's why I put that cover on there, because it's also coming together with Uranus. So it's about innovating the taco, elevating the taco. And so it's getting along very well with families here with that has to do with Juno, that has to do with food in the sixth house of what you eat. It's at 28 degrees of ancestry, of real estate, of families. Okay. So it's getting along very, very well. So some Capricorns might be feeling pretty good right now that are married. They might be probably eating some food, or cooking some food or something like that. Okay. Another thing too that I did want to talk about is that it is making a trine to the part of fortune in Virgo, okay, at 23 exact degrees of innovation. And also Fortuna. Oh, wow. Fortuna and part of fortune? Wow. Yeah, wow, that is insane. I did not expect that. I'm just clicking it right now. And so that's both in Virgo, okay, the part of fortune and Fortuna in Virgo. And where it is in the lot of fortune is at 23 degrees of innovation. So there's some innovation that needs to happen with the Virgo, or where you are of service. Okay. Also your health. Okay. Some innovation that needs to happen there. And Fortuna, it's at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Okay. In the sign of Virgo, of being of service. So this could be about wealth, And today, by the way, is an eight, a number eight in numerology of wealth, and 22, okay, of having to build, okay, having to construct, having to, do a reset and construct from the bottom up, right? So because 22 also, two and two is four, and for those that know about fours, okay, it also rules law and order. And some people don't read the 22 numerology as a four, because it is a master number. But if you really think about it, it's the frequency of a four. So it's pretty much the same. That a 22 and a four, it's about building, okay, starting, like building, and being disciplined in what you're building. It's hustle, right? It's sweat, it's hustle. It takes work. But here is at 20 degrees here where Fortuna is. It's about Scorpio, and that's very wealthy there. Okay, it's making a trine with the moon in Taurus. And let me look at where Fortuna is in the second house of substance. Wow. The second house of real estate, the second house of wealth, the second house of banks, the second house of I have. Okay, so that's very fortunate right now. So some Virgos might be feeling a little bit fortunate right now, as it is making a harmonious trine with the moon in Taurus. Okay, they're both earth signs, and they both rule wealth and stability and security. Okay. Another thing too, that the moon, let me look at here. The moon is making an opportunity. It's interesting. I don't know what's going on with gold, because, I'm not really like, into the stocks and stuff like that. But the moon is making an opportunity with gold. Okay. So this gold asteroid, it could literally be gold, but like I said, I don't know how the stocks are doing right now. But this asteroid of gold is making an opportunity with the moon in Taurus. Now, Taurus also rules gold. Okay. And, it could also mean it would be, you will feel more prosperous right now, or coming into opportunities wearing gold, wearing maybe gold earrings, gold jewelry, maybe gold makeup, maybe wearing some gold clothing, something shiny and shimmery. I know with females we could get very creative with the makeup, and I know I do. I bought the what is it? The Fenty, the Trophy Wife. I just love it because it's very shimmery. It's gold, very shimmery, and I could put it in my cheeks. I could put it in my nose. I could put it even in my lips, and also use it as eyeshadow and everything. And then I look like a trophy. Okay. But I really like how it shines. And you could even put it like by your cleavage and stuff like that, or your also on your shoulders. You could put a little bit of the gold shimmery and stuff, and you look like, I don't know, I was gonna say Cleopatra. You look like Cleopatra. So there's an opportunity with gold, or just coming into gold, or maybe making some gold coffee. I make some gold coffee, and some edible gold coffee. And so another thing too here is making an opportunity with what was this one here? Well, that one doesn't really matter, but this asteroid of beer. I mean, unless you're into beer, I did drink a beer recently. There's beer in Pisces, okay, at 27 degrees. I keep forgetting this because I don't really talk a lot about this asteroid here of beer. But for those that are maybe producers of beer, and distribute beer or sell beer or anything like that, or you even like to buy beer, at 27 degrees of here of Mercury, that has to do with communication, which is branding and marketing and so forth. And what I did, I don't know, I feel like I did in TikTok a selfie, but then it turned into some sort of video in TikTok. And I was drinking my favorite, and I'm not sponsored by them, okay? It's Modelo beer of watermelon. Oh my gosh. I did a michelada, which I buy this cup that's already, it has all the salt and chili on there. And I just pour the beer in there. And oh my God, it was so, so good. It was so refreshing because it's been really hot really, really hot here in Southern California. I'm glad that it cooled off today. And I think today I was like, oh my gosh, best weather today. Because, I get to work better like that. I cannot work when it's like really hot and I'm really sweaty and I get flustered. And so I need to be regulated. And when the weather is cool, calm, and collected, like today, I work so much better. So it is has something to do with communication when it comes to beer, okay? And it's getting along with the moon in Taurus, okay? It could be like maybe even doing a barbecue and having some beer, and maybe eating with your family or something like that, with that Juno in Capricorn, you know, something like that, okay? Or if you just want to buy a beer for yourself, like I did, right? I enjoyed it so much. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my treat. It just tastes so good because it doesn't even taste like beer. It tastes like watermelon, like a drink of watermelon, except that you will feel a little buzz because after I drank the whole can and I put it inside my michelada cup, I did feel, I'm not gonna lie. And it was only one can because I don't really drink. I used to drink a lot. But I lately, life has not been about really much about drinking for me, but just like working. But I used to drink a whole lot before when I was younger, way younger. And when I didn't have responsibilities like today. But um I drank the can and I was feeling buzz. I had this buzz going on. I was like, oh my gosh. And you can't even taste it like you're getting buzz. I just realized because it was just tastes so good. And I was like, wow, now I feel buzz. But I was like, okay, I only drank one can though. That was it. That I had to use on the michelada. So anyway, so there's something about communication, about beer. It's getting along with the moon in Taurus. Um, Also, I did want to talk about in Taurus, there's this asteroid called Italy. Okay. And let me see, where is it at? I think yeah, no, it's not called Italy, it's called Italia. So this Italia is the same thing, Italy, Italia. It just entered Taurus. Okay. So if you're feeling this connection with Italians or Italy or the country or anything to do with Italy or movies or music or whatever it is, it's probably because of that. If you do have some Taurus in your chart, you might feel this connection with it. Or you don't have to be a Taurus or have Taurus placements, but you might feel a little bit towards the generation or um, anything to do with Italians. It's so interesting because I'm hearing an Italian word right now that I'm a I'm a filto or something. I think there's a part I think in Italy is called a filto. I'm a coast. I think that I forgot something like that where there's a bunch of beautiful water and so forth. Um, and it's interesting because where it is at 16 degrees of ancestors, okay, in the sign of Taurus. So, it's much more aspected, this asteroid of Italia in Taurus than it was in Aries. When it was in Aries, it was very chaotic. And that's when we seen the whole, that they went to do picketing and protesting and, and all of that, right? I think it had to do something to do with Iran or something, or they were defending Iran or something. I forgot what it was. It was something to do with that, and they got very like warlike and stuff, and then we seen that, in the news, and of these Italians that got brave, because they were saying enough with the wars, enough, and so uh, because children were dying and families were dying, and Italians went out and picketed and kind of put fear into all these people that were doing that to, I think, Iran or Palestinians or something, and they knew they were probably going to hate Italians, but they took a risk. They were very brave with that Aries energy, right? So when the Aries asteroid was in Italy, they did something brave. But now it's in Taurus, so now it's more like stable. It's more relaxed. It's more comforting. It's more about food and restaurants. And then I think about the man that died in our town. Interesting that he passed away when Italia was in Taurus, right? At 16 degrees of ancestors. So I have a feeling that his ancestors took him away, that maybe he was already tired because he was already old, and his ancestors took him away. Especially because this new moon in Pisces gets along with Taurus. Okay, they create an opportunity there, but this new moon in Pisces, it has to do with fish. It has to do with the ocean and so forth, and also Italy. They have strong Pisces over there. Okay, I don't know if it's in Jupiter. I have their chart, but I'm not going to look at it right now. But I feel that I don't know if it's Jupiter or Venus, one of those, where they have Pisces. And because that's why they have the water and it looks real turquoise and real beautiful and everything. But it's interesting that he passed away at an ancestor degree in the asteroid of Italia in the sign of Taurus that has to do with restaurants, right? And this happened right after the new moon in Pisces, which is interesting, ruling fish. So that's what I'm looking at. And I wanted to talk about this because since I haven't actively been doing the astro weather like I should, now I am. My life got a little bit hectic because I'm not just a podcaster, I am also a part-time caretaker and I have other responsibilities as well. But everybody is, especially Pisces right now, I think we're like having to do a lot of things right now. And I think right now we need to look at and do what is most important, and just drop some responsibilities that we don't need to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm slowing down because I'm trying to slow down my nervous system. I don't want to go too fast because this year I have a bunch of Aries. When you have a bunch of Aries, and I'm not the only one. Okay, everybody that is having a birthday from right now, especially as we head out to Mars in Aries as well. And let me look at. I think Mercury is also going to end. Yeah, Mercury is going to enter Aries. Mars is going to enter Aries. So all these people, and we've already entered Aries season also. So yeah, we did. And so a lot of people, starting from here on forward, they're going to have a lot of Aries. I mean, in my birthday that just recently happened, I didn't I it didn't start with Mars in Aries or Mercury in Aries, So, but I still have like at least 5 placements in Aries, as far as the solar chart, the birthday charts that happen, but that's my frequency. So I'm trying to slow down, and not do everything too fast because I know I could crash. Because my human design is not built and my body is not built to go really fast, because what happens is that I'll crash, and so my body is supposed to relax and slow down, kind of like the people from France, and I do have ancestors down there, but maybe that's why that's part of it too. But they live such a slow pace, and sometimes it's like, gosh, can you go faster? I get a little bit nervous when it's too slow, when it's a little bit too slow, because I'm used to doing things fast, but I'm learning now to slow down, and to just slow down and have clarity and, make right decisions and so forth. But, when you have too much Aries that way, you could tend to like get so busy and do everything so fast. And I think we need to have clarity and discernment. So I'm trying to slow down, smell the roses, go out for a hike, go buy me a tea or go buy me a coffee or something, and just kind of, take a chill, take a chill pill, not a pill. I don't take pills, but, just kind of just relax, and just regulate that nervous system, especially for us women, okay, that have reached middle age. And even though it doesn't look like, we have, but, a lot of us, it starts at 35. Once you're from 35 and up, it's, I believe it's premenopausal, and you tend to have symptoms of, you know, like getting triggered easily, and, you know, just having different personalities. you know, I could be a Pisces, and all of a sudden the Aquarius comes out of me, and so we need to regulate those hormones, okay, or else we're gonna go nuts. And that's what I'm doing. I do take nutrient supplements for that, to regulate it, and that's why sometimes I'm a little bit more chill now, because I'm not trying to go fast like that. But I do work fast too, okay, because of my Mars in Capricorn, which is a lot. um, I, I'm what I'm doing is I'm releasing things that I don't need to do. I will say no to that. No, I can't do that. If it takes too much work, no, I'm not going to do that. Just I want to simplify my life. That's what I want to do from now on. So anyway, this is what we got for the astro weather right now. The moon, is going to jump off Taurus, and then it's going to go into Gemini, which we're going to feel a little bit more communicative with Gemini. Okay. Right now, we're just kind of mellow with the Taurus, but it is at 23 degrees of Aquarius. Okay. So this is about innovating. Maybe we can come up with ideas of what we want to do, and so forth. And, those are some of the things that we can do. And, just wait out for the Gemini moon. Maybe we'll get more brilliant ideas with the Gemini moon. It's very genius like, and so forth. And, or it could be like an ox, not like a fox. I meant to say a fox. Ox is me, which is right now what it is, that energy of Taurus. But that is what's going on right now. And so anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. If you guys like the podcast, share it, like it, tell your friends, comment if you like. I am just starting out in the podcast here, and you're going to start hearing more podcasts from me. Okay. I'm trying to build right now a system of the days that I'm going to be podcasting, and so forth. But I don't know, I can't really do it on schedule, because I'm not really, usually there's some podcast that says, 9 in the morning, every Wednesday at 9 in the morning. Like, I can't do that. I just cannot do that. Because you just never know with me. I'm somebody like, surprise, I decided to show up, or I decided to, but it's not about that, because this is not a hobby. This is a business, but there's sometimes things are going to happen, like my whiplash, or, I have to, but it's not so bad, because it's only less than an hour. So, I can do that. So, and then I do the Spanish one as well. So if you guys know Spanish, head out to the Spanish one. And there, I believe is the Español Astroclima, well, Star Zenith 33 dot astro, or I think it's Astroclima. No, it's Astroclima podcast. I don't know, I forgot. I'll post it if you guys follow my Facebook. I don't even know it by heart. I cannot believe that. I think it's called, okay, it's bugging me. Okay, there we go. It's Astroclima Español podbean.com. Okay, so that's the website there, and then you can see all the Spanish episodes there. Okay, that I do them, because there are people besides the United States. There's people in Mexico, there's people in Latin America that listen to it, and sometimes I will talk about the economy, sometimes I will talk about predictions and so forth. And so yeah, so that is what's going on there. If you guys are interested, or maybe you guys want to hear me talk in Spanish, you don't understand a word, but maybe you want to learn Spanish, then you can listen to Spanish as well. Okay, so hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys later.